السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، مرحبا بكم. الليلة معنا أخونا العزيز والأستاذ الغالي الأستاذ مرغني الجعلي. ما شاء الله عنده خبرة كثيرة ما شاء الله في مسألة البزنس ومسألة entrepreneurship، ولكن اليوم عاوزين نكتسب من خبرته بالذات في مسألة الريل استيت والعقارات. فحنبدأ بادئ بالتعريف بنفسك، الاسم والمهنة زي ما بيقولوا.
السلام عليكم. الاسم المرغني الجعلي، known to many people بلقب أمير. and Amir comes from من الاسم ذاته. اسم مرغني ده is a compound name, and this is a nice story. I will start with it because nobody I have asked they know what is the meaning of the name until I start searching it, and it's a compound of Amir and Ghani.
يا سبحان الله. اوكي، أول مرة
Amir, which is يعني تعني أمير في الأخلاق أو في التعامل، أو وغني لها معنيين. وان غني عن التعريف، والآخر الغنى المادي.
وإن شاء الله الاثنين محققات فيك إن شاء الله، يعني زي ما أحسن في التسمية تكون الحقيقة. أيوة.
والستوري يعني في الاسم we will tell the rest of it in the next meeting. لكن this is just a quick summary about the Mirgani, and that's why some people call me Amir. And كلمة مير also for in Urdu it means Amir.
سبحان الله.
Mir Ali, it means Amir. That's also one of the things when I was doing real estate in Dubai. Many of the Pakistani or the Urdu-speaking people, they will, once you say Mir Ghani, they cannot pronounce it and say Mir.
That's
I say, okay.
Mir. So now it makes sense.
Yes. Absolutely. I started my business in the international business, and I'm still doing that part through a company called Prince International. And I did not discover real estate until late, which is very disheartening to me, because I wish if I have discovered it when I started my international business. So when I discovered real estate, or the real estate, and I got into it around 2010. When I discovered it earlier around 2006, but it didn't click to me the potential of it, and how important of a business is real estate to individuals and to communities, and more so to immigrants. Because real estate is one of the most powerful ways for wealth transfer in the US and around the world.
بعدين في مسألة wealth transfer دي بس عشان نوضحها، إنه الwealth transfer في فرق بين الwealth حقنا ده وبين الwealth كما بدرس للناس اللي بعديه عشان ما يجوا يتعبوا. طب الwealth transfer قصدك؟
نعم، wealth transfer from one generation to another generation.
تمام. يعني دي كنا بنهزر إنه دائما الإيميجرانت كوميونتي ولا يقول لك الأفريكان أمريكانز يقول لك البيض white people leave wills، يقول لك black people زي نكتة، يعني black people leave bills.
That's true.
ففي ناس بتموت وبتسيب لاولادها ورثه يقدروا يعيشوا مرتاحين، وبعض الناس بتسيب لهم فواتير، بدفعوا الفاتوره دي والفاتوره دي وحق الدفن ذاته.
They might be paying it for a long time.
في اجمل حاجه في المقدمه انك بينت لنا انه الريل استيت، الشخص اللي شغال في العقار ده، يعني هي ما وظيفه، انت معتبرها كانها نوع من البزنس. فانا عجبني دي في لو احنا بنحمل الناس عاوزين ندخلهم في حاجات البزنس، فعجبني في تعريفك انك دخلت مع بزنس مختلف وانت معتبر انها مش وظيفه ولكن نوع من البزنس. فحيكون ده ان شاء الله الموضوع بتاعنا احنا داخلين يعني. ولا عاوز تعلق بيه بس؟
نعم definitely. يعني it's not وظيفة or profession by itself, and many people they look at it that way, and it's fine for them. But the way I look at it, it is a business. Once you get into it, even as a single home owner, when you own your home, you own your own home. If you don't treat it like a business, you will end up losing. By that I mean, if you don't maintain it regularly, if you do not buy it in the first place, in the right way, using the right information. So you will be becoming losing as an owner instead of so. And for working in the real estate, even if you are a realtor, if you don't think of yourself as a business owner, you should get out of the business, because really, being a realtor or real estate agent, you are literally owning a small business, although you're attached to a brokerage. That's just a requirement by the law, but you're running a business where you have to have a business plan, you have to have income statement, you have to have projections, and all of the things that people do in the business. You have to do it into your business to be successful in that business.
Beautiful. طيب خلينا نبدا من الاول. يعني انا اول ما جيت ايوا، اول ما جيت امريكا جيت ايوا طوالي ودوني لستيف، ودوني شقه. اول اشتغل في شركه مشيت اجرت الشقه.
نعم.
اشتري بيت ليه؟ ما بيجي اخر الشهر بدفع الايجار بتاعه وقاعد مرتاح. يعني ليه ندخل في شراء البيت؟ يعني ايه الاهميه؟ واتس يعني لي او لاسرتي او لاولادي؟ يعني ما انا قاعد مبسوط مع ستيف وقاعد في شقه مبسوط.
نعم that's true. انت قاعد مبسوط وبتدفع ايجارك at the end of the month. We don't have to worry about maintenance or very little maintenance. However, buying a home, and I mean it here for first-time home buyers, it's a home, not a house, and there is a difference between a home and a house. Buying it, it has three main important points that we should think about it. When you own your own car, it's never like renting a car, because when you own your own car, then you're free to do with it what you like, and the cost is less. The same thing when you own your home, you have more freedom for what you can do in your home, inside and outside, of course, within reason. Number two, it is always in the US in particular, your homes, the home is appreciating every year. Before the pandemic, it used to be around 5%, plus or minus 2%. But since the pandemic, some homes have appreciated up to 20% a year in some markets.
طيب عشان نسهل الرياضيات، يعني لو اشتريت بيت ب 200,000 قبل 3 سنين، الليلة حيكون على الأقل 340 360,000 يعني.
Yes, in some market that happens, yes.
يعني زي ما قلت buying a home is a business. buying a home نفسها الواحد يقول يشتري البيت، هسه كده اقنعتني انه شراء البيت ذات نفسه نوع من الاستثمار، غير انه في قروش الايجار دي ضايعه ما بترجع. يعني كده البيمنت حقت البنك لو بعتها بترجع لي، غير انه البيت ممكن اكسب فيه. فانت وضحت لنا كده كتر خيرك، وقلت في 3 حاجات معلش عشان تواصل فيها.
No. And then the next two things comes with quality of life and wealth transfer. Quality of life, when you live in your own property, whether it's a condo or even an apartment, but you own it or a house, you will have a better quality of life for you and for your family and even for your guest. It's just that feeling of you own it and then you can decorate it the way you want to without asking the landlord. You can go into your backyard, your kids can go and play in the backyard. And also very important, and most of you have noticed in the US here, if you are living in an apartment, most of the time neighbors relationship are not strong. Or if you think about Pheasant Ridge, for example, is very non-existent unless your neighbor is another friend you know. But when you have a home, then you will be able to build a relationship with your neighbors. And that will make it easier for you to assimilate in your new homeland.
Exactly.
So the quality of life here is very important. And also the wealth transfer, it comes from,
تقول wealth of wealth في نفس quality of life.
Yes.
لما تكون ساكن في منطقة فقيرة مثلا أو فيها جريمة، شقق في منطقة خطرة، أولادي حيتأثروا بيهم. وياما شفنا ناس في ولايات مختلفة في مدن مختلفة، الولد ممكن يدخل في حاجات أو يتأثر بحاجات، أو حتى تلقى أولادنا في الكوميونتي بيبيعوا مخدرات أو بيسووا حاجات. ليه؟ لأنه دي الكوميونتي اللي نشأوا فيها.
Yes.
لما أنا أنقلهم إلى بيت نفس البيمنتس بدل ما ادفع انا في ايجار ادفع انا في مونثلي بيمنتس في حسب الكريدت بتاعي طبعا، بكون نقلته لمنطقه ثانيه. مساله الكواليتي اوف لايف ما التاثير انا علي بس في تاثير بسيط، يعني تاثير كبير جدا حتى في مستقبل الحياه يعني. فذيس از ا جريت بوينت يعني. شكرا انك
Absolutely,
علقت عليها.
absolutely. I think this is very great point, especially for immigrants or for any family that they want to hold to discipline and they want to hold to some structure of the way they want to raise their kids into that they have more control over it versus when you are living in.
وانا عارف هندخل هتكلم بعدين في موضوع اختيار البيت، انا كيف اختار البيت. اكيد من الحاجات اللي الناس بيختاروا بها البيت في امريكا بتلقى مثلا سكولز، السكول جريد مثلا، او
Yes.
المؤجر ملزم في المنطقه اللي انا فيها والمدرسه اللي فيها والكواليتي اوف لايف. يعني لما كنت اشتري ايه بعض الاشياء ممكن يعني I can look for to improve الكواليتي. معلش بالجامبينج سبجكت.
Oh no, absolutely,
مساله
absolutely.
الكواليتي
And
لانه دي مهمه جدا، انه لما
that
البيت
is
مش انه بس بملك بيت وحكسب قروش، لا انا بنتقل باولادي وباسرتي لمنطقه. معلش واصل ايوه.
no, no. No, I totally, that's a very important point. بسبب إنه most of the families in the US, when they come to buy a house, one of their biggest considerations they want to have a better schools for their children. And that's why we direct people when they want to buy a house. If they don't know about the school districts or the schools, they can go to the school district website and they find the grade of each school. And that's also where it becomes very beneficial for you when you buy your house to buy it in a good school district where your kids can go to a good schools. You want to have an area where it is safe for them to go and attend the schools and then have higher school grades and better chances to move forward to college and of course, absolutely.
بعد كده النقطه الثالثه مساله الورك ترانسفير ذكرتها ايوه.
النقطة الثالثة هي مسألة wealth transfer, which is important that wealth transfer from one generation to another generation. People who own their home and they ultimately pay them off when they pass and the inheritance come to their children, and then their children will have a fully paid house. And that will help them start their new homes, either building or buying, because in some cases it might be a large sum of money. And we see it in our market now where kids 24, 26 years old, they will come and they say, I want to buy a house cash. And we know he just got out of college. But that cash is coming from inheritance or from his parents who paid for their property or they invested in multi-property and now they can go and buy it, help him buy a property cash or make a large down payment. And that helped this person start on the wealth footsteps way ahead of his colleagues who graduated at the same time.
بعدين دي برضه فيها حاجتين. فيها انا ممكن اثناء حياتي اولادي يستفيدوا من الهوم، وممكن بعد حياتي بعد الحياه. طبعا حذكر الاثنين يعني. ايام الكوفيد في واحده من المناطق، انا مشكله الجنريشن بتاعنا بتصور انه حيعيش في امريكا لغايه ما عمري 70 80 سنه، بقى 80 سنه حمشي السودان او حمشي اجاور امشي المدينه. وي دونت ريلايز انه مثلا في فتره بسيطه قبل 3 سنين الكوفيد لما بدات في منطقه واحده بس اكثر من 20 واحد بين ال 30 الى 50 من الكوميونتي بتاعتنا في واحده من الولايات اتوفوا في فتره وجيزه جدا. وبعد كده اولادهم بقت الناس بتلين قروش عشان يدفعوا الايجارات حقاتهم. احنا بنتكلم على الجنريشن الوقت، ما بنتكلم على انه ده بنبقى عمري 80 سنه، بنتكلم على الليله لا قدر الله تحصل لي حاجه والاسره حتصف على بعضها كيف وكده. فلازم احنا برضه كمصورين احنا مغتربين ما عارفين انه لا احنا خلاص بقينا جزء من السيستم. وي هاف تو بلان فور ذا سيستم. الحاجه الثانيه لما يكون عندك بيت برضه ممكن تاخذ لون اجينست ذا هاوس، يعني لو جات حاجه طارئه قروش انفستمنتس. فبس الجنريشن دي يعني I think it's very important انك you stressed on it now.
No, I appreciate يعني انك you mentioned the point about people, especially for immigrants, they think, I get 70 years old and then I can go back home. And they don't think about there's also that possibility you will not go back home. This is home now. And once you change your mindset, and this gesture I would suggest for everybody if they can get a book by John Naisbitt, and it is, I think it was published 2006, 2007, and it's talk about mindset. And when you change your mindset, then you can see all what we are talking about. It makes sense. And all these things about, I'm going to go back or I'm going to do that, and it might never happen because of many unforeseen things in the future. It will change. And once your thinking is changing, then your actions should change.
فمسألة العقلية دي مهمة. الآن ممكن ناخذ مثلا، ممكن ناخذ الهنود الباكستانيين في لندن مثلا. اليوم المير بتاع لندن كلها هندي مسلم. الدكاكين، السيد الميرز، المعارف شنو في الجفرمنت، الجادجز، عدد كبير منهم الباكستانيين والهنود. لما نمشي على ديربورد ميشيغان، يعني الكوميونتي اللبناني ما شاء الله، سي ايوز، جادجز، بوليس اوفيسرز، مدراء شركات. منها فورد، السي او بتاع فورد قريبات دي كان من الجاليدون. لما جو قالوا احنا حنستقر هنا، فبدوا يبنوا ويشتروا ويتاجروا الى اخره. فقصه المايند سيت دي نقطه مشكور انك يعني وضحت لنا. لابد انه نقتنع انه الان احنا قاعدين هنا مساله نشتري بيت دي يعني مش يعني من ابسط الضروريات او من الاوائل الضروريات. حتى ما المفروض حاجه تبلان فور. المفروض من اول ما جينا طوال يكون شراء البيت دي one of the top priorities يعني اكيد. طيب الحاجه الثانيه كيف؟ طيب انا فكرت بدي اشتري بيت، استعيد كيف؟ في ناس مثلا اشتغلت لها فتره 3-4 سنين شغالين عندها شويه كريدت. في واحد لسه انا وصلت الليله من فروم اوفرسيز من المطار، they just picked me up. فكيف اجهز للبيت؟ ايه الخطوات يعني انت كريل استيت مثلا وعندك بزنس ما شاء الله في المجال ده، ايه الحاجات اللي تنصحنا بها؟
There is about 8 steps, for from just thinking about buying a home until you get the key to your home.
Yeah.
And to go through that process, we have always a first-time home buyer presentation. We can sit with people who are even not ready to buy a house today, but they say they are ready to buy a house in 2 years or 3 years, and we will tell them all the steps that they need to do until they are ready.
طيب معلش انا حقاطعك هنا، النقطه دي مهمه جدا. استاذ مرغني از فولنتيرنج بيقول لنا يا جماعه في خطوات لو عايزين تشتروا بيت، في بروسس 8 خطوات. ما تنتظروا الى الاخر، من هسه نبدا. يعني لو حاشتري بيت بعد شهر او بعد 6 شهور او بعد سنه او سنتين، من الان انا ابدا، لان في تعديلات بسيطه حتساعدني كثير. ممكن تنزل لي الانترست ريت، ممكن تضمن لي اضمن المنطقه الصح، اجيب السعر الصح للبيت. فعشان كده ضروري 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 ان احنا نحط المعلومات بتاعته، التليفون والايميل بتاعه، عشان نتواصل معاه من بدري، نقدر نعمل البلاننج. يعني الواحد ما ينتظر اخر لحظه، الواحد من بدري ممكن تو سكسيد في المساله دي. ف we're gonna take you on your promise ان شاء الله. حنحط الكونتاكت انفورميشن بتاعتك عشان نقدر نتواصل معك. اوكي.
Absolutely. And so the first stage for preparing for somebody who just thinking about it is that you need to start preparing your credit and your savings for purchasing your first home. And the credit, it comes with knowing your credit score, knowing that you don't have any bad debts that are showing in your credit score. And if there is any, there is credit companies and there is many non-for-profits also can help you repair your credit or clear those problems. But let's speak about somebody who doesn't have any problem. He have a job. Then you start building your credit score, and that's by having a credit card, and then having purchases that will be financed through the bank you are dealing with, because that will help increase your credit score. And the higher your credit score, the better interest rate the bank will give you.
بس عشان نبسط العباره مهمه جدا ذكرها استاذ مرغني. اتصور بشيء البنك هو اخذ سلفيه 30 سنه، اخذت 30 سنه. يعني دي ما حسابيه بس للتبسيط. 30 سنه بتاخذ لو كريدت سكور بتاعه 750 بيدفع $600 في الشهر. لو انا بدل 750 650، بدل ما يدفع بس هو بيدفع 600 وقبل ادفع $700 لمده 30 سنه. فانا حدفع عشرات الالوف زياده بس عشان السكور بتاعي اقل، ولو رفعته ممكن اوفر على نفسي انترست ريت كابل اوف يعني بوينتس او سب بوينتس يعني. يعني احتمال بسطت اكثر من اللازم لكن بس عشان تصل الفكره يعني.
Yes, you said it perfectly well. So that's the important thing. You prepare yourself, and you can always contact us. We'll direct you what to do. So you prepare your credit score. You start saving your money, and you need a minimum of 2 years of employment and savings. So when you go to your bank or credit union or Islamic lending institution, they will, all of those 3 lending avenues are required to follow federal, state, and local laws. And so when you go to them, they will ask you for a minimum of 2 years of income, where you are employed, how much you have in your saving currently. And here I would like to mention, when you go and say, I have 10,000, that 10,000 have to be in the bank, and not that money is outside and you bring it in, because if that is the case, then they want to know where it comes from. So you will have your history of employment, you will have your credit score, and then after 2 years you can apply to mortgage lenders. And there is 3 kinds of mortgage lenders. You got your regular banks, you got your community banks, and then you got mortgage companies who are their only business is to lend money for buying homes. And then you got the Islamic finance as well. So you apply to whichever you like, and you can apply for more than one, and then they will decide how much they want to lend you according to the scores in those 4 criteria.
من النقطة الجميلة ذكرها أستاذ مغربي برضه you can shop يعني ممكن تمشي لكريدت يونيون، أمشي للبنك اديني انترست ريت محدد، أمشي لكريدت يونيون اديني واحد أقل فأل جو ذا less one. يعني مش ما بالضرورة شخص واحد. فthis is good إنه يعني to show that. Okay. So now I have my employment of 2 years. I have my credit. I'm fixing my credit to get it up.
Yeah.
النقاط الثانية بقى to prepare me.
Okay. So you have your credit, you have your employment, you have your saving in the bank.
Sure.
I think if all of those are available, and you went to the bank or the lending institution or the mortgage company, and they say, Mr. Bashir, we are ready to lend you $250,000 to buy your house. Your payment will be, your down payment, it will be 3%. And we see that you already have it in your account.
Mm-hmm.
And we can issue you a pre-approval letter. And that pre-approval letter is very important for the realtor you are working with, because that shows the bank initially have checked all of these things, and they are almost 50% sure that they will lend you. It's not 100%, but at least 50% they are sure they will lend you.
للتوضيح 5-6 years ago الناس اللي بيشتغلوا في العقار زي استاذ مغربي مثلا بقوم بتصل بيه اقول له انا عايز اشوف يوم السبت اوبن هاوسز، ياخذني مثلا اشوف 5-6 بيوت. الاسبوع اللي بعده اقول له اشوف 5 بيوت ثانيه، يقوم ياخذني فضيع يعني 7-8-9 ساعات بوريني في بيوت. في الاخر يقول لي طيب ليتس جو تو ذا بانك، امشي البنك يطلع كريدت بتاعي ضارب، انا كان نوت جيت لون. فبيجوا انا الريل استيت كلهم بيقول لي جيت ا بري ابروفال ليتر، يعني تجيب خطاب من البنك بيقول انت يور ابروف تو جيت 250,000. اول ما اوريه له بعد كده حيورينا البيوت في الحدود بين مثلا 220 الى 250 او 260 مثلا، لانه انا ام ابروف فور ات. فدي عشان كده مساله مهمه قصه البري ابروفال ليتر، لانه بعد كده الايجنتس they want to work with you, they know that you did your homework and you're ready to go. برضه مساله القروش اللي في البنك زي ما ذكر انه احنا هيطلبوا منا الداون بيمنت، فعشان كده يورينا الداون بيمنت ده انا عندي مبلغ بيقابل الداون بيمنت موجود في البنك. لو الداون بيمنت مثلا 4000 ما تكون ده 4000 في البنك، ومن باب الاحتياط دائما سيبوا 1000-2000، واحتمال استاذ مرغر يعلق عليها بعدين في المستقبل، لانه لما يشتري بيت بيكون في شويه صيانه، بيكون شويه مينتنس، محتاج يصلح حاجه حاجتين بسيطه، فدائما وي كيب ا كابل اوف اكسترا دولارز، فهم داير يشوفوا المبلغ بتاع الداون بيمنت واحتمال 1000 أو 2000 زياده من باب الضمان يعني. طيب
Absolutely. And once that pre-approval is issued
Yes.
by the bank, then your realtor, and we can always transfer you to or connect you with a realtor through our EXP network throughout the 50 states and Canada. That realtor will sit with you. It is almost will be like an interview, and we always recommend the husband and the wife or the two major partners in buying the property be in that interview. And we have an acronym for it. We call it LP Mama.
Nice.
And that is abbreviation. On that interview, the realtor, a good realtor will sit with you and discuss the details about the property you want to buy. And LP is abbreviation for location and price. Those are the first two main issues. We want to know the location where you want to buy the house, and that's within the city itself. We will look at do you want to buy in the east part or the west part or whichever, and what is the price range, and that will be confirmed by the pre-approval letter, because those are extremely important for many buyers because they want to buy, and we will talk to the client about if he want to buy, he's asking for a specific place, and we know that place neighborhoods are $500,000, and he's only approved for $250,000. We will tell him, that's impossible, but we will give him the options in his city or town where there's good neighborhoods where he can buy that. So that's why we talk about the location and the price, and then after that will be interview about talking to them about and educating them about the mortgage process. Once you get the pre-approval, once we make an offer, what will happen in that mortgage process, because from that meeting until you get the key to your house is an average of 4 to 6 weeks for any finance transaction.
ممكن مداخلة سريعة؟
Yes.
طيب معلش على المقاطعة، احنا دائما بنقاطعه وهو يعني الله يجزيه خير بفضله معنا. طيب في نقطتين، النقطة الأولى ذكر مسألة إنه احنا نختار الريلتر الشخص بتاع العقار اللي حيساعدنا نشتري البيت، النقطة دي حنرجع لها. لكن في نقطة أنا would love to work with you وبحب الناس كلها تشتغل معك فيها لسبب ثاني. مسألة الفاينانسنج لما نمشي لواحد أمريكي ما مسلم احتمال يتك من one direction. في بعض الناس عندها تساؤلات مثلا ده حلال ده حرام، الفرق بين كده كده وشنو، عندنا certain sensitivities. فمن الحاجات اللي انا مبسوط منها جدا خبرتك في المساله دي، انت كشخص مسلم عارف ما الفرق بين البنك والفاينانشال البنوك الثانيه. لو في واحد ماشي بالبنك حتدي الادفايس انه البنك احسن او الكريدت يونيون ده احسن وكده. برضه لو جينا من الناحيه الاسلاميه برضه في ديفرنت اوبشنز، لو تذكر اساميه مثلا. احنا لما نقول نمشي ده ولا ما تمشي مع ده، لكن بقول الميزه بتاعت انه
لا ربا، ايجاره.
ايوه.
Those are two examples of Islamic financing available in the US.
بالضبط، فدي الميزه بتاعت لما نتعامل مع واحد يكون عارفنا وفاهم الكالتشر بتاعنا، انه بيقدر يورينا الفرق بين الحياه المختلفه ومصلحتنا تكون وين، وممكن يدينا ريكومنديشن فيها.
No, absolutely. يعني what Bashir is saying, I can help with it, but that doesn't mean you can go to other places. I mean, it is your choice and it's your decision.
Yes.
We are here to help with information, but the decision always on the hands of the buyer. And I want to make that disclaimer here because we are, as real estate professionals, we always want to handle things professionally. And to do that, you have to, let people know the facts. And so you can, know that you are the one who have to make the decisions. We are here as professionals to help you with any information that we think it will be leading you to do the proper thing or the right transaction for you and for the market as well. Once we talked about the location and the price, and the issue with the price is that what you are capable of paying and what the market condition. Because sometimes, 250 can get you a bigger house than nowadays, for example. Or in some cities that can get you a condo, but in other cities it can get you a 4-bedroom. And in other places it can get you a 6-bedroom. It just depends on your location and the age of the property and all these things. And when we talk about the mortgage, we will, go into details about the mortgage process. Because a lot of people, they think the mortgage is just like once they get that letter, this is it. No, it is not. Once you get the letter, then we will have to find the house. When we find the house, we have to fill a contract. And we call it a purchase offer. And then we submit it to the owner of the property. And if he signs it, then it becomes a binding contract to all parties. And then we give it to your bank of choice or mortgage company, and then they will start the finance process, which takes up to 4 weeks. And that's why we want to educate you about what happens in those 4 weeks. And once we talk about that, then we'll talk to you and also, tell you about the agent. We as professional agents would like to tell you that in order for a good transaction, you have to be a good fit to us and to you. And that's why it's very important when you choose your agent, you choose an agent that you are comfortable with. You understand him. You can trust in him. And that's why we talk to you about that. Up to this stage, you're always free to go to anywhere. But that's why we tell you about it's important, the relationship. What do you expect from an agent? And we'll go into details about what you are expecting is reasonable or not. We will tell you what is the reasonable expectation and what we expect from you, because we are going to go into a journey of finding the best possible home for you and your family. And it has to fit your need, but it has to be realistic with what, as professionals, we know as the market condition and the quality of the homes available at that time.
وبس للاضافه والتوضيح في النقطه دي انه عشان الواحد يبقى ريل استيت ايجنت في امتحان بتاع السيرتيفيكيشن. جزء من امتحان السيرتيفيكيشن هو مساله بتاعت الاثكس. ما اقدر اقول اخلاق بالعربي، حنقولها كيف؟
يعني هي اخلاق المهنه.
اخلاق المهنه بالضبط. يعني في حاجات بتحكم انه كيف انه ما يغش الكاستمر، لازم يكون يعني صريح، لازم يوري الحاجات كلها بمنتهى الوضوح وترانسبيرنسي وكده. عشان كده تلقوا كلام استاذ مرغني يعني فيه نوع من الوضوح وترانسبيرنسي جميله جدا وشفافيه جميله جدا يعني.
So and the last two acronym for MAMA is that the motivation, we ask you about your motivation of buying the house. And that ties in on what we talked about earlier about you want to live a better life for you and your family. You want your kids to play in the backyards. You want your kids to have some friends in the neighborhoods, that you want to be close to your place of worship or your work, or your wife work in the hospital. She goes at 5 o'clock in the morning, so she need to be close to her. This is the motivations for not only you want to own a house, but there's other layers that we try to get into. And that's why we discuss with you in a deeper level what is your motivation of buying a house, to get the most details so we can find you the best house. And once we finish that, for the last A is the appointment. We'll start making an appointment where we will start showing you houses and start the process of purchasing the home. And we'll leave it here until the next question.
Okay. But one question in choosing the realtor. Yeah, there's a lot of companies out there. But now it's a trick question for you. I know you worked in different places, a couple of real estate places.
Yeah.
Why EXP? يعني what is different? I have different, just like I have different options. أنا ممكن لو بدي أشتري بيت ممكن أمشي مع الشركة دي، ممكن أمشي في الشركة دي مع الشركة دي. فأنا ما أقدر أحطك في موقف محرج أقول لك أنا أمشي مع الشركة. حقوم أقول لك أنت اشتغلت في أكثر من شركة، ليه اخترت EXP؟ إيه المميزات بتاعت EXP
المميزات بتاعت EXP A, it is a national company. That means now they have agents in 50 states. And that help us as an agents to network so we can serve our clients better. The other things, the agents are part owners in the company. We own stocks in the company. And that means you are not just an agent working for a brokerage, but you are also, you have shares you own in that company. And so you will find the agents have a higher commitment. They are motivated because they know they have to work hard to serve their client. And the company with its all capabilities, which is now it has 83,000 realtors throughout the US and Canada. And with that extensive network, we can help everybody, because also we help people who are moving from one state to another state, from one city to another city. So that is what is EXP. I think it will be a great fit, but that doesn't mean for you have to only go with EXP. It is very important you interview other agents. If you think they will serve you better, then you go with them. But EXP being a strong company with commitment to customer service, with a very wide range of services throughout the US. That's why I highly recommend it. And then you will find agents are happier who are with EXP because they feel they have part ownership in the business. And that's why they're handling it as a business, not as just an employee or a profession.
توضيح جميل جدا. احيانا يعني اظن وضحت نقطه جميله جدا. طيب اتكلمنا على السيرشنج، بعد كده الباينج بروسيس نفسه. انت مساله لو تدينا مقدمه في الموضوع ده، مساله نحن تقريبا اخترنا البيت، اخترنا الريلتر، خلصنا الاستعدادات، بعد كده بتبدا مساله شراء المنزل نفسه بعد كده.
Yes.
Okay.
We will start searching for the house with the family. We highly recommend that you bring your family along with you when we are seeing a house, minimum husband and wife, the decision makers. And then we will, from our interview with you and your family, we will select 3 to 5 houses if the market permit, and set up an appointments. Usually the appointments about 30 minutes. And we will visit the house, we will show you the house, we'll give you the information about the size, the square footage, the bathrooms, all that. And most of the time you will have, thanks for technology, you will have a full property report before we meet. So you can go through it and ask questions, and the questions that you might have and the report answer it. We don't need to waste time on it. But the visit will be is to show you the house, the neighborhood, and that will be our first step of searching. Once we see the houses and you say, well, I like house A, number 1 priority, and house C, number 2 priority. Then we'll sit with you and try to narrow it down and say, once you agree with our guidance that A is a better choice, then we will sit and write a purchase offer. This purchase offer, it differs from one locality to another, but basically it is very, the components of it is the same. This is a binding contract. It will talk about the price. It will talk about the timeline. It will talk about the inspections. It will talk about remedies. And then it will talk about transfer of the property to you.
ممكن بس نقطتين سريعات في دي ونواصل. النقطة الأولى ذكر الأستاذ مرغل مسألة الريبورت.
الريبورت contract.
ايوه بس قصدي ورا شويه كده،
اوكي.
رجعت ورا شويه لما سالت
Yes.
الريبورت ميزتها او لما نيجي نشتري اول مره زي ما قال ومع التكنولوجي انه في حتى اشياء انا ما بهتم لها في اول مره لكن مهمه جدا. يعني المدارس مسافتها كم؟ هل في سكول باص بيجي في الطريق ده؟ هل المدرسه قريبه للاولاد بالذات لو في الابتدائي والمتوسط مبسوقه مثلا؟ لو في جامعه، لو في مسافه البيت، لو في تصليحات حصلت في البيت لانه السقف لو قديم حادخل في تصليحات كثيره جدا، فيقول لك مثلا السقف ده جديد وعلى وارنتي مثلا. في حاجات كثيره جدا يعني دي من الحاجات اللي بيجهزوها علينا وبتكون جاهزه، او ممكن نلقاها اونلاين معلومات كثيره عن البيت والنيبر هود واسعار البيت كومبيرد للبيوت الثانيه. فدي حاجات كثيره موجوده متوفره جدا، ممكن يعني الريتا بيساعدنا فيها. ذكر بعد كده مساله الانسبكشن. الانسبكشن انا ما شفت البيت وعجبني محتاج انسبكتور ليه؟ شفتها من بها كده وبتاع بعيوني العاديه ومبسوط.
Yes. And that's, yeah, بعيونك. And also the previous owner, he did a lot of painting and he
تمام جدا.
washed it with power wash and everything is clean. That is looks beautiful to you.
Okay.
But the inspections are very important, and because the inspectors are licensed in every state, they are professionals, and they will come and spend in average between 3 to 4 hours inspecting the house in areas that you cannot even see with your بالعين المجردة,
Exactly.
with your eyes, or you cannot. So those are professionals. They will come and do the inspections for. There is 4 areas that most of the contract focus on. We want the house, the structure itself is safe and sound. They will inspect the electrical parts are good. They will respect the safety, and they will respect the health issues in the house. So that is why the inspection is very important. And the inspector reports will find things sometimes, and sometimes it's minor things. We don't have to worry about it. Sometimes it's items that the owner, after he moves in, he can repair them. And sometimes there are major things that we have to have negotiation between the buyer and the seller on fixing it prior to completing the sale.
بس اضافه للنقطه دي زي ما ذكر انه احيانا بقول يا اخي انا اوفر دولارين لانه شفت البيت وعجبني عشان اوفر قرش الانسبكتور دي مرات مبلغ يعني بسيط يعني عامه، ولكن شنو؟ في حاجات زي ما قال يعني مثلا في واحد اشترى بيت مبني في الاربعينات، بعد ما سكن بشهر شهرين اكتشفوا فيه ليد بينت، فاضطروا انه طلعوهم من البيت وقعدوهم في فندق يمكن شهرين 3 يعني دخلت مشاكل او تكون مشكله في السباكه مثلا. انا ما حنتبه لحاجه في السباكه، شايف المؤسسه شكلها جديده وسمحه ممكن تكلفني الاف الدولارات تصلحها لقدام، او السقف ممكن لما يجي السنو والبرد تكون حاجات. فعشان كده الانسبكتور ميزته زي ما قال بينظر نظره يعني عميقه جدا في الاشياء، يديك ريبورت مفصل، فضروري جدا جزء من شراء البيت الانسبكشن والريبورتس الثانيه.
نعم. Well, since we are talking about the inspection, there is 3 inspections.
Okay.
There is a structure inspection, which I talked about, and then there is a pest inspection, اللي هي الحشرات اللي بتصيب الخشب.
Yeah.
And as we know here in the US, the wood is يعني a major component of many homes. So that's a different inspector will come and inspect those. And then there is also radon gas, and it varies from state to state, but that's a different inspection where they will have to measure the amount of radon, and it's present in every house in the US, but in some state is more than others, and the EPA has 4 micron per liter as the maximum level for a house to be suitable for living in.
Okay.
And so that's the 3 inspections have to be done.
Okay, so now نحن بدأنا الأول، وصلنا مرحلة البيت، هسه حنشتري البيت.
So yeah, وصلنا إنه we write the contract, this offer. We wrote the offer with you. You sign it. We submit the offer to the seller, and the seller say, "Okay, this offer is good. I will sign it." Once the seller signed the offer, the purchase offer, it becomes a binding contract for both parties. And that's a very important point, because at this point, if you want to get out of it, you will lose your earnest money. And earnest money is part of the contracts in almost every state. that is باللغة العربية العربون نظر الكلمة دي. That's what I want to make sure to everybody knows it. Once you sign that contract, it's a binding, that purchase offer, and it's been sent to the seller, it becomes a binding contract. When the seller sign it, then everything is ready to move on to the next stage. And that stage, we're going to take this contract and take it to your lender. The lender that you selected, we will tell him, okay, we found the house, have an accepted contract, and then the lender will start the lending process at that stage. And the lender process takes 4 weeks, because these lenders work with sub-lenders and other institutions. And so that process takes 4 weeks, and they have also, during that process, to send somebody who is professional appraisal to appraise the house for them. So if you the buyer and the seller agreed for the house, it's worth $250,000, then the lender have to make sure he's lending money on a $250,000 house. The lender will send the appraisal who will go and appraise the house. The appraisal appraise the house, and that means this professional and his license will go and tell the bank, okay, according to the structure, the amenities of the house, the location of the house, square footage of the house, the current market condition, and the number of homes that's sold in the neighborhoods, this house is worth $252,000. Or this house is worth $242,000. And so that appraisal is what is very important for the buyer and for the bank. The bank will not give you a penny above the appraised price. And so that's why it takes this 4 weeks for the lending of the money and for the appraisal, and also for us to do the inspections and the negotiation. If there is an inspectors found things that are the seller have to repair, then we negotiate with them. They decide to repair it, to find someone to do the repair. So that's why this 4 weeks we use it for all these activities.
Excellent. تقدر تجيب ناس يعني من الاول صلحنا الكريدت، صلحنا بتاع، مشينا البنك بري ابروفد، اخترنا الريلتر، هسه كده انا في مساله شراء البيت النيغوشيشنز، عملنا الاوفر، هسه خلاص اسالني almost داخلين على بيتنا بعد ده.
اوكي، اتعمل الاوفر، اتعمل الابريزل، اتعملت النيغوشيشن، everything is set now for closing. The repairs are done. The bankers call us and they say the financing is ready. When are you guys want to set the appointment to come to sign?
في معلش بكمل نرجع ثاني سريع مسألة النيغوشيشن. طبعا الخبرة بتاعت الريلتر مرات بتفيدنا بمسألة إنه البيت ب 200,000، فأنا بقوم بنزل أقول ده اشتري ب 190,000. صاحب البيت يقول لي لا 195، أقول له خلاص 193. بيحصل نيغوشيشنز. المشكلة أنا كمشتري عندي خلفيه في سوق محدد، بمشي في سوق ثاني مختلف. يعني مثلا كنت في ايوا كانت الطريقه بتنزل 10% مثلا، اقل اكثر شويه وبتتفاوض. مشيت في فلوريدا في منطقه العكس، في منطقه في فلوريدا انت برضه كنت عايش معنا في فلوريدا، بتعرف انه كان البيت بيكون ب 300,000. انت لما تاخذ 300,000 بيجي واحد بيشتري كاش ب 320. يعني في ناس السعر، لانه السوق فيري هات مسخن في فتره من الفترات، انه الواحد يطلب السعر. فدي الميزه بتاعت الريلتر، برضه بنستشير الريلتر، بنستشير اللي بيشوف الاسعار البيوت اللي اتباعت. فالمرحله بتاعت النيغوشيشن دي مرحله مهمه، الواحد ما يغلط فيها او ما يطمع او ما يعني كده يعني.
No, I'm glad يعني انك رجعت للنيغوشيشن. It is very important. That's why we say in the business يعني for buyers, you really need to select your realtor and know that you can work with them, and you because there is a lot of negotiation along the road, the negotiation of the fixing the property, the negotiation from day one as far as negotiating the offer itself, the property, or the negotiation if there is some issues the seller have to handle. So the realtors will be and should be working with you throughout this negotiation, and with their experience and with their commitment, you will get a better result as far as you're negotiating with the seller, because the seller might be an experienced owner, or he might be a flipper, or he might be a person who difficult to negotiate with. So you need some body with the skill عشان to help you maximize your
واحيانا بتكون حاجات بسيطه، بتكون مثلا في العمل انسبكشن في البيت، تلاقي حاجات بسيطه ما بتتصلح هتكلف 2000 3، فممكن واحد ممكن يساعدنا الريلتور يقول لنا نيجوشيت انه الاونر اللي يصلحها بدل ما انت تصلحها. في حاجات بسيطه الواحد ما بينتبه لها، ممكن توفر عليه 1000 2000 3000 او في السعر تنزل له او يستفيد في حاجات ثانيه. فدي الخبره، دور الخبره مهم جدا في مساله النيجوشيشن.
So once all this process is finished and the appraisal is done, the repairs are done, and all of that, the lender and the real estate agent for the seller and for the buyer, all of them say okay.
لا معلش بس مقاطعه سريعه قبل التوضيح. في ميزه القانون الامريكي زي ما قلنا في مساله الاثكس اللي هي بالنسبه بالعربي
يعني اخلاق المهنه.
اخلاق المهنه اللي بتضمن انه الريلتور ما يخدعنا ما يغشنا. فعندهم قانون جميل جدا انه استاذ مرغني هو واقف مثلا مع اللي حيشتري البيت، ما ممكن يجي برضه يقف معي انا اللي ببيع البيت. فبيكون عشان ذكر انه في تو ريلترز، السيلر والباير. فدي برضه مساله مهمه لانه ده بيحمي ده وده بيحمي الثاني، يعني عشان كده مساله الكونفليكت. فذكر انه بيكون في مالتيبل ريلترز. معلش واصل في قصه.
نعم
ايوه
نعم. يعني there is multiple realtors. In some instances there might be one realtor, but we will talk about this in another meeting or another presentation. So once all of that is done, and just to get back a little, all of these steps we talked about until the closing date, we have a timeline on the purchase offer before we even send it to the seller to sign it. So that contract, it has a timeline within we can put up to the hour for the seller on the contract. This contract is valid for the next 3 hours, or for 24 hours, or for 5 days. You can select. But once it's signed by him, within the contract, we have 2 weeks to do the inspections. The lender have 4 weeks to do the financing and send us a written commitment. And then maximum of 6 weeks we will be closing. Yeah. We can close earlier, but usually if you want to close later, that will create problem with the seller. So we always want to be staying with that timeline because it's important. Our time is important, and everybody involved in this transaction, their time is important, and that's why we want even our buyers and sellers from the very beginning to know this timeline. We will try to stay strictly to it unless something out of our control is changing it.
Okay.
And so once we reach this stage, everything is ready, then there is the closing date, which usually happen at the lender's location. The lenders being a bank or a mortgage company, then we go there. The buyer will sign the documents for the bank for getting the mortgage as they have agreed to it. And the seller will sign the documents transferring the ownership of the property to the buyer as the minute everything is signed that date. Okay. And here I would like just to talk about another issue we didn't cover. During these 4 weeks, the sellers are in most of the states, if not all of them, are required to give you a clear title to the property. And so one of the reasons we have those 4 weeks or almost 6 weeks, because there is a title work has to be done. And the title work, there is specialized companies that they work on the title to make sure that the title that the buyer is getting is clean and clear from any liens.
دي مسألة مهمة جدا للتوضيح. يعني مثلا واحد ما دفع ضرائب، فالفدرال جفرمنت بيقوم تاخذ منه حاجات، وممكن يقول لا احنا بيتك ده ما تقدر تبيعه، فهو هي اونز ات وبيدفع اقساط وكل حاجه. فدي الوظيفه المهمه برضه، بيقوم بيشوف التايتل بيقول كلين، ما زي العربيه عارف فيها حادث، ما معناتها البيت مضروب، البيت تمام. لكن الشخص اللي بيبيع ده مرات ممكن ممنوع، ممكن عليه داخل المساله بتاع الطلاق، وزوجته المفروض تشيل جزء ومفروض يشيل جزء، ففي حاجات كثيره بتحصل، فالتايتل ما بيكون كامل للبيع بالطريقه الكلين بقصده يعني. فشكرا انك نبهت الحكايه دي. عشان كده لازم الواحد الحياه دي الواحد المسؤول بنفسه ما بيعرف، لابد انه through the process اللي ذكرته ده. ايوه.
No. So that clear title has to be prepared, and it has to be ready for the closing. And so on that date, the new owner will have the key to the house and say, if we sign at 1 p.m. on Friday afternoon, from that minute, now the new owner on the property, and the old owner got his check, and the ownership has been transferred, the tax liabilities have been transferred, and so you walk out of that signing and you own your property.
نايس. ان شاء الله ربنا يوعدنا كلنا اجمعين نصل المرحله دي واليوم ده ان شاء الله. في نقطه برضه مهمه جدا، يعني مساله انه مذكر انا كنت في الجامعه، مشيت اشتريت اول عربيه في حياتي، فكنت شايفها حاجه صعبه جدا، تمشي العربيه واعمل انسبكشن واستاذن له باظت، وتمشي وتجيب التايتل وامشي انقله هنا واجيبه هنا. لكن وصل انه عملناه اول مره بنلقى الحكايه دي سهله جدا، يعني وصل ده في البروسيس سهل.
Yes.
فاحنا لسه بنتكلم عن تفاصيل كثيره جدا وبخبره كثيره جدا دقيقه ما شاء الله. لكن الموضوع actually it's a lot of fun. يعني الواحد لما يكون بيفتش على بيت ويشوف البيت ده والبيت ده، وتمشي انت وزوجتك او انتوا واولادكم مع بعض مثلا، والزوجه وزوجها وكذا الاسره مع بعض، وتشوفوا البيت ده طيب ده كبير ده صغير، يعني الرحله نفسها جميله جدا وشيقه جدا، وبعدين شو بتغير في مسار حياتنا. يعني حاجه جميله جدا ان الواحد يمتلك البروبرتي بتاعته. وبعدين دي الميزه بتاعت الاكسبرتس، لما نمشي انا مع الريلتر، وظيفه الريلتر من وظائفه انه شنو بيسهل لي البروسيس، لانه عنده الخبره. فالخبره دي برضه دورها انه بتسهل لنا البروسيس، بتخلينا نحققها بطمانينه. كل اللي بنطلبه لو ما اشترينا بيت قبل كده انه نبدا بدري. يعني لو انا مش الليله ولا 6 شهور، لو بعد سنه سنتين داير اشتري بيت، من هسه وي ستارت كونتاكتنج الريلترز زي ما قال، نشوف مين الريلتر. انا في حالتي مثلا داير امشي عن طريق استاذ مرغني مثلا جالي، فمن الان ببدا اتصل بيه، طيب انا وانا باي وات شود اي دو، ايه اللوكيشنز، عشان ابدا اجهز نفسي. البروسيس يبقى لي اسهل ويبقى لي فن. يعني عاوزين الخطوات دي تكون فن، يعني نمشي احنا كاسره نشوف البيت، نشوف المواقع، اوريدي جنب المدرسه، جنب الباص، ده بعيد من كده، ده قريب من المسجد، بعيد من المسجد، ده قيمته طلعت نزلت، اقدر اقيم واقدر استفيد من الخبرات دي. طيب في سؤال بالذات في الايام دي، يعني احنا شفنا البيوت السعر طالعه سريعه جدا في الفتره، يعني كان طالع اصلا، بعدين في الفتره الاخيره طالع شديد. هسه مع الانترست ريت ما عارف انها حتجيب ايه الفوركاست من خبرتك؟ طبعا ما بقدر بيعرف المستقبل، لكن من خبرتك how do you see the what's your forecast بالنسبه للفيوتشر للبيوت والريل استيت؟
From our experience, even though يعني فترة الكوفيد is very unusual, one in a century event that happens, that things are beginning to calm down as far as prices going up. And also multiple offers have stopped in the market right now, except in very few markets in high ends properties. But now the craziness of multiple offers and people paying 20, 30, 40,000, this is gone. Right now, the market is trying to reach a stage of equilibrium. So there is, in some markets, you will find if you look into the prices, that prices are coming down because people were trying to reach the high market, so and the houses are sitting longer in the market, so sellers with the consultation with the realtors, they are convinced now they have to reduce their prices. So there is a price drop down, but we don't see any sign right now for a lot of predictions about market collapse or 2007 2008 where a lot of things has came down like half the price or sold for. That is not seen now because of the state of the economy. So I would say the market is reaching equilibrium and the prices are coming down, but coming down within reason. The rates of increase also in prices are coming down. The only challenge now is that the finance and the mortgage rates, they are up. But again, that differs from one person to the other, from one market to the other. If somebody is ready to buy, they shouldn't, totally say, okay, I'm not going to buy right now. He should be open-minded and look at the figures and work with the realtors to see if there's good offers still out there in the finances, because there is still some places which I can offer finances below 5. There is new builders, there is credit unions, and also there is adjustable rate mortgage, which they call ARMs. Those are also are a good option during this period. And of course, we are not financial professionals, but you can talk to and we can connect you with financial professionals who can educate you more in that regard.
وبالآن قصدك إنه لو أنا أخذت interest rate عالي في الوقت الحالي؟
Yes, it can be. Actually, the ARM will give you a lower interest rate for the next 5 years, 7 years.
Okay.
And then it will go higher after that.
Okay.
And that's why they call it adjustable rate mortgage. It will be locked for another 5 or 10 years formula at a lower rate. And then after that, it will go very high rate. But the people who use it, that means after 10 years, they might be selling the house. So it's not going to affect them. Or after 5 years, the rate dropped, they will go and refinance
and now
with the lower rates for 30 years. And that's why ARMs are very popular nowadays.
Excellent. طيب يعني اديتنا معلومات، اتحفتنا معلومات جميله جدا، شجعتنا نشتري البيوت، سهلت لنا الموضوع، شرحت لنا انه احنا اوريدي بعدين وفي حاجات ما فاهمينها. ف what's your final advice؟ يعني final advice زي ما قلت احنا الكوميونتي بتاعتنا فيها مجموعه الناس قاعده هنا 10 15 سنه بيشتغلوا وعندهم W2s وعندهم كريدت، لكن ما اشتروا بيوت. في ناس لسه جايين جداد لسه بيفهموا في السيستم، شراء البيت ما في الرادار بتاعهم. يعني ادينا one more زي ما بيقولوا درايف كده، انه اقنعنا كده اقناعه اخيره، يعني ليه اشتري بيت؟
Okay. I will go back to what we started with, is changing your mindset. I had last 2 months ago, I closed a house for a buyer who came now. He's only 4 years since he came as an immigrant to the US.
Nice.
But when I met with him earlier, when he came in, he told me, this is my plan. I told him what to do, and he did everything exactly, and he bought a house.
Yeah.
So changing your mindset, start right now on your plan. No matter how difficult your situation now, just be honest and face it. And talk to the right financial people or get the right advice and start your plan. And they can tell you within 24 months, you will be ready to buy a house. Within 10 months, you will. So start right now, change your mindset, and نسأل الله التوفيق.
يعني ربنا يوفقنا على كلامك ده. عايزين نشكرك على وقتك الغالي وعلى خبرتك الجميلة، وإن شاء الله حنستضيفك في المستقبل أكثر وأكثر.
شكرا جزيلا، وإلى حلقة أخرى إن شاء الله.
نشكرك أمير. الله
yes.
يسلمك. الله يسلمك.